From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big Monday morning as the voting starts on your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today. The voting on the reconciliation process begins this week, and away we go. We'll be going over the monthly stimulus check that those Democrats want you to have, what Jalapal said, what the president says, and what you should anticipate for this week. I'll be going over the voting process and the calculations on the checks. Then we turn to fifth stimulus that heats up with a lot of anticipation today as Wall Street digests the news from the Fed chair out of St. Louis on Friday that suggests the inflation rate is much hotter than initially thought. That could signal big raises for your benefits on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad, and veterans this fall. Then we turn to the exciting details about that fifth stimulus check and the big money you can get right now. Thousands of dollars viewers are getting across the board. It's a big morning, and there's a big day upon us, and certainly a big week as well. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here. Let's get to the exciting news starting right here, right now, on this big early mornings broadcast, direct from Santa Monica. Happy early morning and happy Monday. Did you crush the rest of the weekend? I hope you crushed the weekend. Hope the weekend doesn't crush you. And I hope Monday doesn't crush you either. How's the weather where you are? If you're in the live chat right now, tell me where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, we'll be going over the breaking news that you should anticipate for today as the voting starts on the fourth stimulus. The weather here in Southern California as we start the new week is wonderful. Sunday was quite beautiful after a heat wave ripped through much of the country on Sunday, and certainly a tornado activity, so I hope you're having good weather as well. We'll be going over the fourth stimulus check in this early morning's broadcast Monday, how much you're going to get, when you're going to get it, and all the details, and what the reconciliation voting process is involved with. We'll be turning to fifth stimulus that has another fifth stimulus check in it, and also the raising up of your benefits lifetime tied to inflation, and how high that inflation rate can go. Oh boy, exciting breaking news on this early morning's broadcast. You're going to hear for the first time ever. And then we turn to the big money across the board you can get, and it's thousands of dollars. This is LALATE, the only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoon. I don't want you to miss a single video across the board. So subscribe right now. Hit that subscribe button. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Next stop, 1 million. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video. Every like helps. It helps in the algorithm rankings. And it also delivers you free perfume every month. I don't know. I'm just trying that for today. So like the video and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay with this video after this video is over. It'll automatically take you to Overnight's Crypto, the hit new show on this channel, live playing currently on the channel. Let's get right into fifth stimulus and fourth stimulus. But first, let's go over that monthly fourth stimulus check from the House bill and the Senate proposal. Monthly stimulus check, yes, that's what the House bill and the Senate proposal both wish to give you. But let's compare them across the board. First, House bill, well, it's a stimulus check monthly for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. Senate, July to December. Let's compare the payouts. House, $1,000. After first month, $2,000. Per month. Senators, unknown monthly, but word on the street is it's this. Wow. $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400 a person, or $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000 a person. This is reportedly what the Democratic senators want to give you. Now let's go back to something that may get modified. Pandemic plus 1 year. Well, the legislators may contend the pandemic is over. If you're in the live chat just after 4 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, get ready to vote House or Senate and tell me where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. If they remove that provision and just reduce it to 12 checks, the House bill would be 12 checks, 12 months, $13,000. Let's compare that to the Senate. 6 months, and this, I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. So jump into the live chat right now and tell me your opinion. Senate or House, and where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. Senate or House. All right, let's go over the details. Who gets a fourth stimulus check? You do. Democrats want everyone who got third stimulus check to get a third stimulus check to get a fourth stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 or less, you would get a fourth stimulus check from the Democrats. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you would get a fourth stimulus check from the Democrats. Double it. Family of 4, you would get a fourth stimulus check from the Democrats. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, you would get a fourth stimulus check from the Democrats. The fourth stimulus check is not income, so it's not taxable. And the fourth stimulus check comes monthly. It does not come in waves because it's not a waivable check. So if you're going to get some coffee at lunchtime today and you see the check getting a cappuccino, don't say, "Hey, check, how's the cappuccino? Is it a half calf?" And the check doesn't respond back to you. So don't think the check is rude. The check is just trying to enjoy their coffee. It's not a waivable check. That check is not a waivable check. Can't wave back at you. Rude check. There you go. That's the first part of your fourth stimulus check update in 2021. The Democrats represent that the fourth stimulus check would start in the month of July for the month of July. And in the month of August for the month of August, the final vote would be waved to at the finish line. Hi, check. By July 4th. And there you go. That is the first of your 3 updates in this video of the fourth stimulus check package. But in the second part, we're going to go over the breaking news about what's happening today, what happened yesterday. And in the third part, we're going to go over a lot of strange, muddy stuff out there. Some of it's the fault of the presidents. I'll explain how to swim through this mud and get to the finish line. And there you go. But first, a preview of the second half of this video. Fifth stimulus heats up with the exciting details of a fifth stimulus check, a $1 billion allotment to the agency to ensure you get your checks on time, and the raising up of your benefits lifetime tied to inflation, which we'll see today if analysts are still of consensus that it's going through the roof. It's incredible, great news, and you're going to hear it for the first time on Early Mornings LA. But let's get some money. Let's get some money. That's what I do on this channel. I get viewers money. I'm not the Stimulus Psychic Network host. This is not Stimulus Psychic readings. We don't track checks in here and wonder what hour and day of the week they're coming. I get people checks. We cash checks here. I get people a lot of money. I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans in spring of last year when their businesses and their homes were going under and their employees' homes were about to go under. Saved all those. And then in fall of 2020, I got viewers $250,000 of rent. When we were waiting to see a second stimulus was going to pass, viewers needed that money. So we're getting it again right now. So get that pen and paper ready and get ready because I'm going to show you a lot of money you can get in this video. Stay to the very end. We're going to start with rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, homeowners assistance, and more. And it's a lot of money. It's about $5,000 for rent, about 4 to 6 months of rent. I'm going to show you where you get it. And each place has different eligibility. So if one says no, reach out to the next. That one will potentially say yes. All right, you're ready? With that pen, here we go. You're going to reach out to 6 places. Your city hall, your city housing authority. Your county hall, your county housing authority. Your state hall, your state housing authority. The keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like Nancy's hairstyle. I don't know that. And I really don't think I want to know that. And you don't say words that they don't know, like stimulus. Stimulus and Nancy's hairstyle. They don't know those. So, and they don't want to know them. So there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this big pot of money. But the next pot of money, it's a lot. And if you got it or you got anything from this channel for money, jump in the live chat because it inspires me, inspires other viewers. I got inspired last week when one viewer got $5,000 for this. I was inspired the week before as a viewer got $7,000 for it. What is it? It's SNAP. It is money for food from Department of Agriculture. So reach out to them to get it. How much can you get? A family of 4 in Hawaii can get upwards now of $16,000 a year. Yes, $16,000 a year because of 2 executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. There you go. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, for her son, and her mom, Gail, got it as well. And it's incredible. We're doing it. We're killing it. You're killing it. $15,000 for SNAP for a family of 4 in Hawaii. $5,000 for rent. We're only 10 minutes in this video, and I got more money for you right now. It's about $5,000. It's coming back from your states. The federal government has identified states as owing you money. They overpaid you unemployment assistance due to computer error. Thank you, not your computer. It's their dark computer. And then asking you to return the money back to them, which you did. Well, the federal government said, no, it was your money to keep, the citizens, and it was the states to fix their computers. So the federal government has ordered you to get back that money. One viewer got $5,000 from it. Where are you going to get it? To the account you have on file. When are you going to get it? Call up your respective state and ask them to track that money and not to use the same computer to track the money. Yeah. Windows 98. It's time to come into Vista at least. Just look at the view of Vista. It's just, or Windows XP. Windows 92. I don't know what they're using now. These old states, come on already. And finally, the last pot of money. It's wonderful. It's coming from the federal government. Todd got it, Margaret got it, Michael got it. I want you to get it as well. And what is it? It is money for the refund of your 2020 unemployment taxes. Let's go over the details. How much, when, and where, and how the routing times for it. First, how much? It's a lot. Let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of taxes. Your $4,000 taxes was of which $4,000 was the taxes on the unemployment benefits. You're getting back $4,000. Where? To the part to the direct deposit account you have on file. Otherwise, in the mail. When? In the month of June. Where? How can you track it? Easy. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password, and go in there and do a transcript search. It'll reveal anything you want to learn about stuff. It will reveal the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid, the favorite beer your boss likes to drink, the recipe for that taco you had last night, and that tax refund check you're getting. There you go. It sort of reveals a little bit about everything. And what's better than that? The second of your 3-part update of your forced stimulus check of 2021. And you know what it is? Here we go. We're starting the voting. The voting on your forced stimulus starts this week. This is RECON, reconciliation. Now, what's very important for you to know, and you're here for the first time on Early Mornings LA today, is that there are other bills going for a vote this week. And the way broadcast media was covering bills this weekend, if you miss the word, you miss what they were talking about. So they said at one point, they're calling the vote, and Joe Manchin has agreed now to agree to it, but Mitch thinks he's going to be able to block it. Which bill? Which bill was that? And then you wait to hear them say the word again. I'm sorry. There's 3 bills. Which bill was this? And then they say, it's the voting bill. The voting rights bill. Okay, that's not our bill. It's like you're arriving at the customs of the airport and you're like, is that my bag? Is that my bag? Is that bag? Oh, that's not my bag. So you got to be very careful on listening to the news the next few days because there's a lot of things going for a vote at the same time. And they sound sort of like the same, but they're not. So vote-in is going. Meantime, Jalapal spoke about the whole situation and the president as well. All incredible, great news. Let me read their comments and then explain them. They need explaining their comments because they're double negatives. They're not English teachers. They're legislators. And so they may sound confusing when I read them, but I'll explain them. Jalapal spoke out just before the weekend and said, the White House has not in any way told me not to do what I'm doing. I love that. But let me explain it to you. And then Senator Brian Schatz, Democrat of Hawaii, says that the White House has repeatedly reassured him that the White House considers the White House's own progressive policies, and the White House has not asked progressives to change what the progressives are doing. Yeah, just complicated wording of sentences. Let me explain what they're saying. It's all wonderful news. The president wants to real big provisions in forced stimulus. Remember, forced stimulus, like any bill, is written by legislators. They legislate. President doesn't write legislation. He's the president. But he can say what he wants in there, and he can be very clear that if it's not in there, I'm not going to be a happy camper, and I'm not going to let it become law. Veto. So what are his 2 lines of the sand? What are those 2 provisions? Climate and the CARES economy, which has to do about seniors and medicine. So those both items are progressive policies. Now, the president has said, I have two progressive policies in it, climate and cares economy. And I'm loving you progressives and like Jalapal for thank you for assuring me you're going to keep this in the fourth stimulus and push it all the way to the finish line. To which you can do whatever other progressive policies you want because you're taking care of my two progressive policies. And that's where the president's side of the patting someone else's, watching someone else's shoulder. How is Jalapal watching the president's back and watching her back? Well, she is inserting his two provisions about progressive policies and representing that she's inserting her progressive policy about monthly stimulus checks, to which the president is giving her the support as well because she's taking care of him on his progressive policies. There you go. Wonderful news. How did we get to this wonderful news? We got this wonderful news from Jalapal, who had written Schumer a letter about a week ago saying, Chuck, call the vote. Call the vote already, Chuck. Well, that letter was co-signed by 12 House Democrats, who are among the 100-plus House Democrats, who had written the president a letter saying, Mr. President, when we do fourth stimulus, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow, that's wonderful news. 100-plus of them? Yeah, that's a lot of them. Well, that's what we're doing. Chuck is now calling the vote. The reconciliation will end by July 4th. He represents that it'll end with a passage. And what was even better news than that, when 7 House Democrats a week ago wrote the president a letter saying, Mr. President, we are going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package and writing them in there, because that's what we do. Wait a second, what do you do for a living? Who are you? They're on the House subcommittee that's solely exclusively responsible for writing stimulus checks. They write stimulus checks. Did you write the first stimulus check? They did. Did you write the second stimulus check? They did. Did you write the third stimulus check? They did. And they now say they're marking up the fourth stimulus package as well. The first stimulus, they now represent they're marking up the fourth stimulus check package as well, and they're putting monthly stimulus checks in there. Wow. Well, are you writing the fifth stimulus check as additionally? They are. They represent they're also doing the fifth stimulus check. And that's in the second half of this video. Wow. And we're still heating up. But boy, can we get better than that? We can. When the President of the United States delivered a big surprise a week ago, Saturday, I'll have all the incredible details about that wonderful news after the commercial break. But first, something even more wonderful than that, the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, SNAP, reach out to the volunteers. They're on the community page. How do you find the community page? Open the description of this video. Go down in the description and you'll find the volunteers at an emoji of a house. It says community page. Click the link and it sends you over to the community page. It has the volunteers under a picture of some kitty cats. Reach out to them. They'll help you get that rent, SNAP, and internet, and also mortgage assistance. They can't take out your garbage. They can't braid your hair. And they do not know the way to Mitch's Lobster Fest. So don't ask them about something they don't cover. But other than that, they can help you wonderfully. And I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with more exciting details about fourth stimulus and also fifth stimulus on this early morning's broadcast. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals. Reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Early Mornings LALATE. Boy, what a big second half we have with more exciting details about your fourth stimulus and also your fifth stimulus. I'm excited for you to join me on a big Monday Early Mornings broadcast. How are you? How's the weather where you are? Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. But first, also subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Also, like this video. 2,000-3,000 likes and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Boy, a lot of exciting details. Let's go over that last item of fourth stimulus. That's very exciting news. As the president does it, Biden did it. A week ago, Saturday, the president went overseas to sign into agreement a provision that anchors fourth stimulus to the finish line. What did he do? Let's go over the details. It started on a recent Tuesday ago when he said fourth stimulus will involve raising the U.S. corporate tax rate. He was worried by raising the U.S. corporate tax rate that businesses may move overseas. So what did he do? He reached out to those other countries to say, hey, raise your corporate tax rate so businesses will move elsewhere. And they agreed. To which the president then reached out to his insiders and said, I like how this is going. Let me get those countries to sign on the dotted line in December. But then he surprised everyone. The president, one Saturday ago, reached out to those countries and met them in person for the first time internationally as president and had them sign on the dotted line, agreeing to this provision about the corporate tax rate. It makes it so wonderfully easy now because it anchors fourth stimulus to the edge of the finish line by taking out provisions about the international corporate tax rate and international corporate taxes, putting them in the international agreement so that they're no longer needed into fourth stimulus, making it easier for those legislators to pass the fourth stimulus package. And there you go. Let's cut to fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus has a lot of surprising details coming out. The first one, a fifth stimulus check. There will be a fifth stimulus check. January 2022, it would start. The vote for it would be around November. The legislation of it would start drafting in September. Number two, the president has dedicated $1 billion to the Social Security Administration to ensure your benefit checks go out on time. This is after the debacle of third stimulus, where people on Direct Express by Commerco were not getting their checks on time. So in advance of getting fourth stimulus checks out the door, fifth stimulus checks out the door, and the raising of benefits, he's ensuring that the system is ramped up with more processes, staffers, and computer systems. And finally, fifth stimulus, the raising up of benefits of SSI to VA and the applying of that benchmark. We all know the benchmark will be inflation, and we all know that inflation is going higher. But today we're going to see Wall Street analyze the situation a little bit clearer. It started on Friday when the the Fed head out of St. Louis came out and said inflation is a little bit too hot and that the two Fed spikes will come next year, not the year after, as Jay Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, had said on Wednesday. This comes after Wall Street thought that we're about 4% heading up to about a 10% inflationary, temporary, or transitory spike before we go back down. Well, let's analyze how this works and how Wall Street may find notion that the inflation rate is actually even higher and what it means for your benefits. How does this work? Let's go over the details. Fifth stimulus will first raise your benefits up a lifetime. Then they'll remove the asset limits. They'll add an inflationary benchmark. They'll remove the income exclusion and remove the marriage penalty. Let me go over how this calculates for you. It's all wonderful news. First, they will raise your benefits up one big time. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple benefits. Then they'll apply a benchmark. You understand how that works. It's applied every December for next year's benefits. The new benchmark would be inflation. So how high is the inflation rate going to be? We don't know exactly yet, but we certainly know we're racing up quickly. And you want to hope that the inflationary spike hits as high as it can hit right when they apply your first benchmark in around November, December. If it hits that spike and that spike is 10%, this is what would happen. Your benefits would raise up an additional 10%, not just next year, lifetime. Because the way that benefits works is they step up a lifetime. They never step down. This would be astronomical for you, an enormous amount of money, fortunes more than SS200. You should never be talking about SS200 any further forward because this pays a lot more money. And this is what you want to get behind. You want them to pass this as quickly as they can pass this in the fall so that you get that benchmark this year. A benchmark next year when the inflation rate drops is not as beneficial. And there you go. That is wonderful news. Next, they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to the 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. It's going to go away so you can have some stimulus checks in your hand and maybe a taco. They're going to remove the income cap that's dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work. Now you'll be able to work and stay on benefits. And finally, they're going to remove the marriage penalty, which has penalized people from being married and prevented people from getting married. And viewers like Sandy and Rob will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. Love will win, and you'll no longer suffer worries about the marriage penalty. There you go. That is fifth stimulus. But boy, there's a lot of other money out there. There's a lot of stuff in third stimulus that gives you tens of thousands of dollars, fifth stimulus, and fourth stimulus. But what are they? Consider becoming a member. The link is at the top of the chat in the pinned comment. Daily, I deliver to members a breakdown of everything that's in third, fourth, and fifth stimulus. It's important to consider becoming a member. Members get a purple hawk next to their name and are sent to them daily a breakdown from me, written by me, what's in third, fourth, and fifth stimulus. There's thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars under third stimulus that's available for some viewers, a lot of viewers. And it's a lot more than a stimulus check. And unless you apply for it, you may never know about it. It's also important to keep separated what's in third stimulus versus fourth and fifth stimulus. There's always a viewer that jumps to the live chat that's neither a subscriber nor a member and asks a question about third stimulus, thinking they're talking about fourth stimulus. They're very different bills, and you don't want to get confused, and that's why it's important to consider becoming a member. All right, let's go to the final third update of your fourth stimulus check of 2021 in this extended early mornings broadcast. So much exciting details. I'm going to go over personal messaging, new stuff for early mornings. Then I'll be going over the voting process. Then I'll be going over fake narratives. And finally, Purple Power Push. All right, personal message. You have done a great job in the last few days of really staying away from the stimulus psychic network. The stimulus psychic network doesn't help anyone. And what is it? It's people who want to play psychic games. They jump in the live chat or the comments, they say, do you think we're going to get it? I asked my neighbor over the hedge and they said, I don't know. I asked my butcher and he had an opinion about it. It doesn't help anyone. We're not here to play psychic games. These are legislators. This is not a horse race. This is not, crypto. You sit back and you guess whether the coin is going down or going up. This is legislators. And legislators legislate. They can amend at any time, and there's a lot of changes across the board available for them. There's 3 steps during the voting process in which they change. We learned just last week that they're currently marking up the bill, which means they have a pen and they have a copy of the bill. And the pen has ink on one side, and they can write in something new, and it also has an eraser on one side, and they can erase something at any time. Let's go over those 9 voting steps to understand this movement across the board. The step 5, 7, and 8 are the most important steps. Step 1, they call vote in the House subcommittee on the procedural bill. Step 2, they call vote on the procedural bill on the House floor. Step 3, the Senate votes on the procedural bill. Step 4, the President signs the procedural bill into law. All right, the important tow truck has passed over the finish line. Time to go back and get the tow hitch, the substantive bill. Step 5, here we go. The House subcommittee finishes marking up the bill. This is the subcommittee that can put those monthly stimulus checks in there, and they call a vote. The House subcommittee could have monthly stimulus checks in there or may not. Then Senate calls a vote. House floor calls a vote. Steps 7 and 8, the critical 2-day votorama. Senators can amend whatever they got. So, 3 possibilities. Senators receive a House bill that has no stimulus checks in there. Senators can amend it and add them in there. Possibility number 2. Senators receive a House bill that has stimulus checks in there and they love them, they leave them alone. Or number 3, senators receive something that has stimulus checks in there, but they still amend it. And finally, step 9, the President signs into law. These are multiple steps, some of them which can be done in the same day, with the exception of the votorama. Next, fake narratives. It's important to know that even like early in the video when I told you that there's a lot of other legislation going for a vote, it's easy to get confused, but it's also easy to get confused because broadcast media is not telling the complete story because of two reasons. One is because they're not they're running an incomplete story, and second, it's sort of the president's fault. Number one, let's go over the incomplete story. The incomplete stories manifest themselves first in January when we're talking about third stimulus and second stimulus. They came back this weekend as well. What do they look like? They look like this. Bernie Sanders, January 2021. I'm discouraged about signing the third stimulus package of January 2021 unless there's a minimum wage in there. And his adverb was discouraged. That doesn't mean he's not, but broadcast media takes it as Bernie Sanders hints he may not vote in favor of the third stimulus package in January 2021. Well, it sort of sounds like he is, and he's clearly toying with you with his adverbs, but they don't run the complete story, which is Bernie Sanders has always said, I want to insert minimum wage in the provisions of this recon, whether it's first stimulus, a second stimulus, a third stimulus, or another bill, a student loan forgiveness. He's always inserting it somewhere. And people say, no, Bernie, we're not putting it there. And he's like, okay, I'll sign the bill. Where do I sign? Where do I vote? Yes, I approve. So they don't run the complete story, which is say that Bernie Sanders always falls like a lawn chair. And so they were doing this last weekend, not with Bernie Sanders, but with other people, where they were talking about things and they're like, well, tell the complete story. These people are not holding up the vote. They're just asking for other stuff inserted, and they're not going to deny a yes vote if it's not inserted. Okay, second fake narrative, where again, the story is correct, but it's not the complete story. The problem and the fault is all the president's. What is this going to look like all this week? It started yesterday with Mr. Unimportant. He's not important. He's unimportant. Ron Portman. The president had the opportunity in Geneva, Switzerland, to zip it close. And he said at one point, "We're calling the vote for recon next week," and I ran the quote. And he also said, I don't want to hear any more about this bipartisan negotiation after Friday. That was last Friday. Then news reporters pressed him again on another stop on the tarmac somewhere else in another airport. And he said, and they asked, Ron Portman, or I don't know who it was. It was just someone. Someone has an idea for you. Are you happy to hear another idea? Sure, I'd love to hear ideas. Let me hear your ideas. Circle around one more time. Range of options. Yeah, that the way they talk in that White House. He should have said, no, thank you. We're done. We're going to recon. He didn't. He's been chastised by fellow Democrats for not saying no. He has a problem with saying no. And the reason he's not saying no is because he's trying not to look partisan for something that is partisan. It's a recon. And it's going to a recon vote by July 4th. So just admit you're doing something partisan. At some point, you have to admit it. But by not saying no and saying, well, I'm happy to hear anything, then guess what? They're running the other things. And who is it? Ron Portman, who has nothing to do with your fourth stimulus. He has nothing to do with fourth stimulus. And the president will never let Ron Portman have anything to do with fourth stimulus. The president has no intention of ever listening to Ron Portman. But the president wants to look like he's listening to everyone, and it makes the story coverage confusing. So broadcast media ran Ron Portman because the president said he's willing to hear anything. Because the president did not tell people to zip it when the president should be. And what did Ron Portman say? What you would expect him to say. I mean, Ron Portman in 2020 was the guy when you were losing your home, your business, and your employee, and your job, and everything, and the pandemic was killing people. He said, I'll get back to work. You're lazy. I'm going to cut off your FBC, and I'm not going to give you a stimulus check. That's Ron Portman. So the president should have just told everyone, zip it. But instead, he didn't. And so you're going to see these stories run about, well, there's a two-track path, there's a recon and a bipartisan, or there's a bipartisan or a recon, or there's this and that. No, there's only a recon, and so by not zipping it closed, he's making it confusing for other people. uh, hopefully my first thing I want to tell you, you're going to hear the first time on Early Mornings LA, is I hope that he sees how badly the voting rights bill, which is not this one, dies in the Senate. It's going to die very quickly because he's not going to have any bipartisan support for it. It is not going by recon. And hopefully he sees how quickly that dies, that it just gives him some oomph to say, go forward with forced stimulus by recon. I don't want to hear from any of those other people. They just killed my voting bill, which was very important for some Democrats. I hope that gives him sort of a lift under his shoe because he's not cracking the whip. Finally, let's go to Purple Power Push. You're doing very well. Keep all the pushing. It's important to push because, as you saw, the legislation can get legislated in any direction to the final minute. And so go on social media, tag the elected officials, Democrats, senators across the board. Also tag progressives in the progressives of the House, progressives of the Senate, their progressive caucus accounts, their chairs, their vice chairs, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, MSC Purple Power. Also search for the hashtag MSC or Purple Power altogether and see where there's other tweets from viewers of this channel. Then retweet those tweets by clicking the retweet button. Finally, if you don't use social media, use the telephone. Call up their offices in D.C. and be respectful and polite and express why you need a stimulus check to your Democratic and progressive leaders. Finally, if there was any other reason why to get stimulus checks out the door, it was Thursday's jobless claims number. It is a number that talks about how many people are newly unemployed in the last year. And in the last week, that were not unemployed in the last year. So these would be people who had jobs throughout the entire pandemic and just got laid off. And the number went up. And in fact, it went up in California, where we're back to normal. So it shows we're not fully rebounded. And with that, thank you for joining me on a big extended Early Mornings broadcast. I'm next back with you with Overnight's crypto. Stay with this video, and 6 seconds after this video is over, it'll send you right into Overnight's crypto. It's a big show this morning because of how badly crypto fell Saturday night. Let's see what's doing on Sunday into Monday. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you to be part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video. 2,000-3,000 likes. Every like delivers another pizza or perfume or a gift basket maybe. Or maybe some $12 ice cream. I don't know. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Hawk, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful morning. Stay with me all day long, and I'll be back with you next on Mornings LA at 9 a.m. Stay informed, stay focused, and have a beautiful